Hey y'all, Matt, Massive Beers here with a little bit of hot butcher up in this piece. Yeah, we're talking about Pneumatic Tube Room. First things first, what do y'all think of when you think of Pneumatic Tube Room? I'll give you 5 seconds, then I'll tell you what I think of. BioShock. I love BioShock. It's one of my favorite video games of all time. There's a lot of pneumatic tubes in that room. Sometimes when you go to fight a boss or you go to a certain level, you gotta put your weapons in a pneumatic tube. That's what I think of. So I kind of hope this beer is really delicious. It's a Nectaron, Mosaic, and Eldorado hopped India Pale Ale, coming at 6.7%, 0.75% alcohol by volume, with their typical tasting notes. Ooh, collab with Perennial. I just noticed that. I love me some Perennial. They have tasting notes of juicy citrus, candied berry, late floral. I love this art design, man. I love it. I mean, it is very, very simple. It's not like super kind of crazy out there, Jetson level stuff, but there's something about this. Maybe it's just that little bit of insinuation, a little bit of association with BioShock. I don't know, but I really do like it. Hey, look, this can is crazy dented. That's all my fault. In my fridge here, that shelf is unstable. I bang it, stuff flies out. I've dropped this beer about 40 times. Probably not 40, but a lot. And I'm actually blown away and it hasn't bursted at the seams yet. So, anyway, let's give it a pour. Give it a little drinky poo. Again, like I said, man, I like that design. As far as the beer goes, I mean, it looks the part of a nice hazy, big hazy, but lower ABV kind of hazy, turbid, 2-finger, just off white head of 6.7% IPA, but pale ale kind of vibes to it. So, yeah, looks the part. Looks pretty, actually. Looks like it's going to be impactful, yet drinkable at the same time. That nice combination of a nice mouthfeel, but at the same time, be able to chug on that sucker. The nose. So, this is really Nectaron hop driven for me. And then it's very, very stone fruity. Actually, am I getting that wrong? I always assume Nectaron hops means nectarine, which means, stone fruit. It's gotta be, right? Maybe I'm screwing up my house, but it's very much stone fruit driven, not overly sweet. You get your pineapple, you get your citrus. You even get like a little bit of soft chocolate on the other end of things, but there really is this kind of big, rich kind of stone fruitiness with this kind of slightly grassy, slightly minty kind of greenness. I don't want to go full-on mintiness on this, but it does have something a little bit extra. You're getting this greenness. You're getting this kind of sweet and candied, slightly pininess to it that comes off really, really fun. Impactful. Smells much bigger than a 6%, 6.7%. Bursting in that kind of 7.5% range. It just smells really, really good. I think this might come off bittering and finish pretty, not dry, but drier for hazy. I'm kind of intrigued. Dive in, y'all. Cheers. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. I like that. Because it has this kind of, it's dry. It's not all that sweet. I like this. For those playing along at home, this is just over 2 weeks old. No, it's almost a month old. I'm lying. There's enough sweetness here to carry this beer through. And I say that with like compliments. It's dry. It's bittering. But there's a lot of fruit portion in the show here, too. Almost like dehydrated fruit. That's kind of how it comes off, because there is that lack of sweetness. So, first things first. Immediately, you know it's not sweet. You get sweetness, but again, there's a bittering. There's a little bit of carbonic acid in there. There's a bittering from the hop. There's almost a dryness. full attenuation from that yeast, so it kind of just draws all that bittering and that kind of West Coastiness. It's definitely more West Coasty than I led on the actual aromatics I was talking about. This kind of sweet and kind of grassy thing. Yeah, no, it's not there, man. It's West Coasty vibes. A little bit rank, a little bit dank, a little bit weedy, and that fruitiness is there. But it's like it's not even an underripened fruit, because a lot of times underripened fruit has like a tannic kind of like tea-like quality. It's a little bit kind of more woody, but with this, it is that kind of stripped of sweetness. It's a matured fruit that was stripped of its sweetness, so that's why I went with like the dehydrated kind of route. I think this is fantastic. As far as a like cool, like not overly sweet, well balanced kind of New England meets a decent hefty dollop of like new school West Coast, because it's not that super resinous piney thing. It's more of kind of like a bittering with a lot of fruitiness to it. And while there is a sweetness to it, it finishes very dry and bittering and kind of lingers there, but it's super new school. So that's the kind of twist on it, is that we've had those kind of uber bittering beers. We've had those beers, those IPAs that finish it relatively dry, crispy. This doesn't finish all that clean and crispy, but it gives you that kind of sensation because of the bitterness and how the beer kind of plays and how that yeast kind of gobbled up without all that sweetness. I think this is actually one of the more fun beers that Hop Butcher has done in quite some time. Perennial too. We can't sit here and call it all Hop Butcher's influence. So maybe there is a decent dollop of perennial in here, because while they have had beers that have kind of skirted this territory with Hop Butcher before, they've never really got this down and dirty on that kind of undersweetened kind of side at this ABV level. Some of their pale ales, some of their lower ABV hoppy stuff has definitely gotten down to this kind of fully attenuated, not really all that sweet, fruity kind of thing, but, pushing 7%, and what they typically hit when they hit these kind of percentage points. By that, because people will be like, what the hell are you talking about? Hop Butcher's very specific in their ABVs. I don't know if anybody out there has actually noticed this, but a lot of their beers are 6.7, 5, 7.25, like, you know what I mean? They hit specific levels of ABV all the time. That could be just them putting ballparking numbers on. It could be just that. I'm not saying they're doing that on purpose. I don't know. But at this ABV level, there is an inherent sweetness that is much bigger than this, and there is a lack of dryness and bitterness they typically don't get. Now, I know they've been doing a lot more lagers lately. I know they're expanding their facilities and just trying different things. It could be part and parcel of that, because it is a collab on their side of things, not Perennial. But I could see there being a cool influence from Perennial on this one. If that's the case, that's your true collab there. You have very few and far between true collabs nowadays. More often than not, a collab is just, saying someone, let's do a collab. Let's kind of Excel sheet, let's do a Google sheet together of a recipe, and then we'll have it brewed by one of my people on our end. You come and visit, we'll take a couple pictures, and then we'll see you later. Not necessarily that kind of close of a collab, I guess you would say. This is almost like, feels to me like maybe two people are in a room kind of actually, pushing some grain and some hops and stuff like that. Maybe I'm just being a little bit romantic. I do not know. But what I do know is I dig this. And I dig this quite a bit. That's a fun beer. It's a very, very tasty, very fun beer. Yeah. That's all I got for you. Yeah, that fruitiness, well, it sticks with the stone fruit. That's why I really didn't kind of expand on that all that much, actually, in the taste. It follows the nose pretty much to a T, with that stone fruit leading away. A little bit of your, actually decent amount of pineapple, citrus on one end, and a little bit, probably less tropical fruit than I got on the nose, but it's all kind of there. But it really is a stone fruit and a pineapple driving the bus here in the mouth. What did they call out on here? Juicy citrus, candied berry, light floral. Yeah. But it really is the dryness and the bitterness that drives the bus here. And while it's not a super like weedy, danky, resinous kind of bitterness, it is more of a kind of mixture of dryness, carbonic acid, and a nice kind of fun but kind of generic bitterness that leans a little bit into a kind of piney realm, it comes off very, very cool because of how fruity it is without being sweet. It's a really fun beer. Mount Rushmore. At this ABV level for Hop Butcher, yes. Their whole portfolio, it's on the outside looking of Mount Rushmore, but it's up there as far as good beers. Collab-wise, might be one of the favorite. It's definitely Mount Rushmore in the collabs. Let's put it that way. And, yeah, let's talk about it. Have you had this particular beer from them? Have you had it, a month out? Have you had it hyper fresh? How is it different? Have you had perennials side of this? I know a lot of times Hop Butcher does back and forth beers, like they do the same beer at perennial. Have you had that one? How did that one come off for you? And let's talk about Hop Butcher in general, because that's what we're here to do. Talk about beer and have a good time. There you go. Reviewing the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hope we'll see you next time. Cheers, all.